In the top stories, the Labour administration is expanding support for households struggling with utility bills. Regionally, Guyana aims to become the food basket of the region through investment in agriculture. And on the international scene, 2026 El Niño weather pattern set to become strongest in living memory. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Major Newscast. Today is Friday, the 21st day of August, and I am Jasmine Thomas. First, on the local scene. The Labour administration is expanding support for households struggling to keep their water and electricity services connected. Through Skelec's Reconnect 15 promotion and the Water Services Department's Reconnection program, more flexible options are being made available to people who have fallen behind on their bills. Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew says the measures are intended to help ease the pressure on families as they continue to deal with rising costs and the challenging global economic environment. Similar support was provided by the Labour administration through the 40th anniversary of Independence Reset, which helped thousands of people reconnect their water and electricity services. Dr. Drew is encouraging those who benefit from the current programs to honor their obligations and make every effort to remain connected. He says the support is designed to provide relief to households while also protecting the long-term sustainability of the country's water and electricity services. St. Kitts and Nevis remains under a drought warning, with the recent rainfall not enough to ease the dry conditions. Senior meteorologist Officer Elmer Burke told ZIZ News that despite the recent rain, an overall rainfall deficit remains.
Conditions remain the same. We do recognize that yes, we would have gotten just some brief passing showers over the past few days or so. However, that would not have made any significant dent in terms of the deficit that we would have recorded for the year compared to the average, and that's why we remain in a drought situation. It is expected that the drought warning that was issued for St. Kitts and Nevis is going to remain in place until we receive some appreciable amount of rainfall. At the moment, that hasn't happened as yet. So yes, we are still experiencing the drought conditions here in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Burke said the Federation has received only about half the amount of rainfall it would normally expect by this time of year, which is a cause for concern.
For reference, we have received just about 50% of what we normally would get. And persons may say 50% doesn't sound like much in terms of a deficit or a decrease compared to the average, but it's significant. And the important thing to note is this is the time that we expect the rains to occur, and we are not seeing it materialize as yet. Yes, we had some tropical waves that passed our area. Unfortunately for us, we had the dry Saharan dust in the area, and that suppressed the rainfall activity for us here in St. Kitts and Nevis.
He added the ongoing drought during what should be the wet season raises even more concern as another dry season lies ahead. Burke is therefore urging the public to practice water conservation.
One of the main concerns going forward is if we don't get an appreciable amount of rainfall. We do recognize that we're going to be soon after this wet season, which finishes in November. We're going to be proceeding into our dry period. So our dry period is when we expect dry conditions. And we're not saying no rainfall, but drier conditions. And if you're going with a major deficit, the impact can be significant, and it can be worse and harder on us in terms of the population. So it's important for the general public to start to conserve now.
Senior Met Officer Elmer Burke. St. Kitts and Nevis is backing a greater role for young people in shaping how artificial intelligence is developed and governed. The Federation participated in the United Nations AI Youth Conference in New York on International Youth Day, joining young people from around the world in discussions on the future of the technology. Young nationals and members of the diaspora took part in discussions on AI governance, policy making, ethics and inclusion, as well as the social and cultural impact of emerging technologies. One of the key outcomes was the development of a youth-led declaration setting out recommendations on AI policy and governance to be taken forward within the United Nations system. St. Kitts and Nevis also used the conference to draw attention to how artificial intelligence could affect cultural identity, representation and authenticity, as well as the preservation of cultural heritage. The Federation welcomed the declaration, saying young people must be active participants in developing the policies and principles that will govern artificial intelligence. On the regional scene, Guyana is seeking to position its agricultural sector as a regional hub for investment and food security. The country is attracting investment in areas including corn and soy production, livestock, aquaculture, large-scale farming, agro-processing, cold storage, and logistics. Officials say this strategy is designed to move Guyana beyond exporting raw commodities by encouraging more processing and value-added production within the country. Guyana Office for Investment Chief Investment Officer Peter Ramsaroop says the approach could create jobs, expand production, and open new opportunities for businesses across CARICOM. The country is also seeking to build supply chains that connect Caribbean capital and expertise with Guyana's agricultural resources and access to South American markets. The strategy is intended to support CARICOM's food security goals while creating new opportunities for regional businesses. And the United States and Jamaica have signed a status of forces agreement aimed at strengthening military and security cooperation. The agreement was signed Thursday following talks between U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and Jamaica's Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security Horace Chang. The deal sets out the terms for U.S. and Jamaican military personnel to operate in each other's countries for agreed activities, including training and joint operations. The two governments say the agreement will also support regional security, defense and disaster response, while strengthening efforts to combat the trafficking of guns, drugs, and people. And on the international scene, the Met Office is warning that a developing El Niño event could become the strongest in living memory. Scientists say the event could push global temperatures higher, with 2027 very likely to become the hottest year on record. The warning of Pacific Ocean waters is already being linked to changes in weather patterns, including lower monsoon rainfall in South Asia and reduced hurricane activity in the Atlantic. El Niño can also bring drought and wildfires to parts of South America and Australia, while increasing flooding risks in areas including Peru, Ecuador, and the southern United States. Scientists say climate change is not known to make El Niño events more frequent or stronger, but a warmer world can make their impacts more extreme. And at least 48 people have died in northwestern Nigeria after an overloaded boat carrying about 70 passengers capsized. The boat was traveling along a river in Sokoto State when it capsized Thursday morning as farmers were heading to their rice fields. Authorities say about 10 people have been rescued, while search and rescue operations continue for those still missing. A local lawmaker says many of the victims were children. The boat was reportedly overloaded and had developed a leak, allowing water to flood the vessel. Boat accidents are common in Nigeria, with overcrowding, poorly maintained boats, and weak enforcement of safety rules often blamed for the deaths. We now take a look at the weather. Partly sunny skies are expected across St. Kitts and Nevis today, with a slight chance of a brief shower. Tonight, fair to partly cloudy skies are expected, with a slight chance of a brief overnight showers. Daytime temperatures will reach a high of 30 degrees Celsius, while overnight temperatures will fall to around 25 degrees. Winds will be from the east-northeast at 7 to 16 miles per hour, with lighter spells at times. Seas will range between 3 and 5 feet. Sunset this evening is expected to be at approximately 6:30, while sunrise tomorrow morning will be at around 5 minutes before 6. That brings us to the end of the Midday Major Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more. Thank you for tuning in. I am Jasmine Thomas. God bless you.